What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Part Timers Barbecue. I'm Max, the part-time pit master. And if you're new to my channel and you like what you see, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you can stay up to date on all my upcoming videos. So far, I've been planning, trying, and I'm succeeding in dropping a video every week. So without any more chit chat, let's break into what we're doing today. We are actually going to be doing a chuck roast, or what we like up here, what you're going to find is a blade roast. So the chuck primal is around the shoulder. Blade roast is obviously a part of the shoulder blade. So realistically, if you go to a butcher shop, you ask for a chuck roast, they're gonna most likely give you a blade roast up here, at least in Ontario. So yeah, let's get to it. So here we have it. The blade roast, the chuck roast, whatever you wanna call it. There's different things you could do with this specific piece right here. You could cook it up basically like a brisket, and then when you get to the point of tenderness, you can cube it up, sauce it up, and make poor man's burn ends, as they call them. Or you can cube it up right away and season every side, smoke it that way, and then put it in a pan and sauce it. Or what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cook it basically exactly like a brisket, and then I'm gonna slice it up. And if you do it perfectly, you get real nice tender slices. So I'm just minimal trim. I'm gonna get some of this fat on the side here because it's obviously not gonna do us any good. It's not gonna render in sideways to the meat or anything like that. So it's not gonna help moisten the meat. All it's gonna do is block rub and bark creation. So we'll get rid of it. There's some silver skin there too. No big deal. Let's take it off, but this is gonna be nice, tender. I really enjoy cooking these chuck roasts, blade roasts, whatever you wanna call them this way, because they're so great. They're just nice, tender, juicy, perfect slices. So basically, if you are new to barbecue, this cut right here is like pot roast, but we're gonna barbecue it. And that's it. Just took off some of that. Everything else is fine. So I'm gonna hit it with a binder. I'm gonna use Lee & Perrins Worcestershire sauce. I know it's a little different from what I usually do, but no big deal. Sometimes it's good to mix things up. So I'm just gonna put that on there. We're gonna rub it on all sides. Let's get it tacky. Personally, I'm a fan of binders. One, I think it adds a layer of flavor, and two, it helps the rub stick. Basically, binder, that's what it is. But I just think it adds another layer of flavor as well. Help break down the meat. So we got that on there. I'm gonna hit it with this Quah Valley all meat rub. It's a barbecue rub. I love this as a base layer because it has a nice kind of competition sweet flavor, but it's not very peppery. So that's why I'll go over it with an SPG such as my Barky briskets. So I'm gonna kind of go for a different flavor profile than you see me do on my brisket video last time. So that was a more Texas approach. This way here, it's gonna have some competition techniques and methods in there, which is kind of how I normally would cook my brisket. Like when I wrap it, you'll see what I do there. I might even sauce this at the end and give it a little sauce on the outside layer. We'll see when we get there. Sometimes barbecue's about just winging it. All right, so we got a nice little layer of that all over. Now I'm gonna hit it with the Barky briskets. This is gonna give it a nice peppery and give the bark a little bit more texture. Layering flavor. Every rub has its purpose. So we're just giving it a nice little on top layer. And we're gonna let this sit overnight. And then I'm gonna be putting it on my Traeger Ranger tomorrow for a nice low smoke. I'll tell you a lot of things I like about that grill as well, because it's awesome. Great little unit. Always make sure to get your edges because edges matter too. All right. Get all over that. And now that's it. That's all we need to do. We're gonna put this in the fridge, put a little saran wrap over top of it, and we'll get it on the pit tomorrow. So I'll see y'all then. So it's the morning. I'd say, I don't know, almost 8 o'clock in the morning now. The roast's been sitting in the fridge overnight. No big deal, just soaking up, absorbing that flavor. So I'm about to turn on the Ranger. So here it is, I got it on a stand. I'm gonna be using lumberjack charred hickory. It's the French side. Lumberjack charred hickory. It's probably one of my favorite blends that they make, especially for the Ranger. I keep it on there all the time. And it develops a really good flavor. I think because it's so small, that it really allows the smoke to circulate. But the Ranger with this here produces some great food. So let's get it, I'm gonna load up the hopper, let's get it fired up, and then we'll get the meat on. Quick flick of a switch on the back. And then if you look here, so now you know it's on. So now we're gonna go up to a temperature. We're gonna go 225, ignite, keep that closed. And now we'll come back when it's heated up. So here we have that beautiful chuck roast. It's been resting overnight. It's got a great color to it already. Everything's sweat in. So we're gonna throw it on the Ranger and just gonna leave it there and let it cook and do its thing. I'm not gonna check it for probably 2 hours. And when I do, I'm gonna check the hopper. Tired to see my mouth just move. So when I do, I'm gonna check the hopper and make sure the pellet's not voiding and maybe see if this needs a spray. So let's get it on the grill. Right in the middle. So as you can see there, we're looking good. We're about 2 hours in. It's starting to crust up a little bit, so I'm gonna give it a little bit of a spray. Apple cider, vinegar, and water. That's all this is. No real ratio, just poured some apple cider vinegar in there and then made sure to pour more water to dilute it, water it down. So let's get in there and give it a spray. Oh, always important to check your pellets for voids. Okay, so we're right around 4 hours now. I'm gonna take a look at the temperature, see where we're sitting at, see if we're getting close to the wrapping stage. Now, unlike a brisket, this doesn't have a fat cap on top that we're looking to render, but you can feel how it's getting soft. So around 165, 160 for something like this is where I want to wrap it. Also, you can see we got a nice color going on there, but it's still tough. So we're sitting around 149, 150. So we still actually got some time to go. Yeah. Still got a little bit more time. I turned it down just a touch because I don't want it done too crazy early. You still want a chance for it to rest, but this doesn't have a huge fat content in it. So I don't want it resting for like 4 or 5 hours. It won't be able to handle it like a brisket would. So that's one of the great things to a pellet grill, is all I have to do is press a couple buttons and you can lower that temperature. All right, check the hopper. I'm gonna show you guys right now what I mean about pellet voids. So this is what I mean about pellet voids. See how they void out right here? So every time I come out and check, I make sure to fill that, because if that void happens, you can have a flame out. And if you get a flame out, your pellet grill will turn off, and that's not something you want. Ready to wrap. great color. We're hitting, I guess, the internal temp we're looking for. Now, one thing, don't ever let anybody tell you wrapping in a pan or wrapping in your brisket, your beef, or your pork in tin foil is wrong. You don't need those kind of people in your life. What could be wrong about saving the juices, making an au jus, and having something to moisten up your slices at the end? That's malarkey. Don't listen to those people. Don't let them be negative. Wrapping it in foil, to me, I actually prefer it. So here I have some barbecue sauce and beef broth mixed together. And we're gonna use this one to liquefy inside here and help build the base of our au jus. So let's get that on top. And what's gonna happen is we're gonna wrap this up, throw it back on, and then when I come back and check it, I'm gonna be checking for tenderness. That's when I'll turn you guys back on. So let me get the foil on here and it back on the pit. So one more thing I want to say is I don't really wrap to beat the stall. I wrap to save the juices, to help tenderize the meat, take it to that second half of the cook, but I do not wrap to beat the stall. I don't even pay attention to the stall half the time. I don't even notice it. I wrap because it's beneficial to the final product. Nothing else to say. So it's time to let this piece of meat rest. Always super important to rest your meat after a really long cook. Now I'm separating the fat in the au jus, so I'm gonna move that aside. And when I let this rest, I'm gonna add some butter to it, just help keep things moist. So now I'm gonna let this sit in my oven, set at 160 for a couple hours. As you can see, I just pulled it out and it looks great. Bark is on point, cuts like butter. And let's see how tender it is. Pull apart tenderness, perfect. Taste test time. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a knockout. Let's see. And yeah, all day win. Get yourself a blade roast or a chuck roast. Cook it like a brisket.